Agriculture is a key industry in Great Britain. Different sectors of the agricultural industry would cover growth of cereals, production of milk and dairy products, and the production of meat animals. 775 million birds, 15.6 million sheep, lambs and goats, 7.9 million pigs, and over 2 million cattle are processed each year in Great Britain in 400 slaughterhouses and game handling establishments. The Food Standards Agency Operations Group, the FSA, is there to protect public health and animal health and welfare with the vision of safe meat produced from well cared for healthy animals. Meat inspection has been carried out in meat premises for many years, with the FSA delivering these controls since 2000, before which meat inspection was carried out by the same personnel but working for the Ministry for Agriculture and Food, and previous to this, local authorities. The FSA Operations Group delivers official controls in approved meat premises to protect public health and animal health and welfare. Farmers have a critical role in supplying well cared for healthy animals into the food chain. This farmer is working with his private veterinary surgeon in ensuring the animals for sending for slaughter are correctly identified and accompanied by the required traceability documents. Cattle traceability is achieved by cattle passports, which is unique to them. Animal and meat traceability is critical in ensuring safe meat. Cattle, sheep and pigs are uniquely identified, and this identification stays with them. Cattle are usually identified by ear tags, as are sheep and pigs, but there are other means of ensuring identification, such as electronic chips, either embedded in ear tags or placed inside the animal's stomach. Traceability continues throughout the meat distribution chain, but is achieved by labelling. Traceability becomes important when controlling animal health and disease controls. The official controls carried out by the official veterinarians, OVs, and meat hygiene inspectors, MHIs, is prescribed in EU and GB regulation. Regulations would list the responsibilities of slaughterhouse owners or food business operators, and the requirements placed upon them in the running of their premises. Official veterinarians and meat hygiene inspectors have their work prescribed by similar regulations. All approved meat premises are audited by official veterinarians. Findings from these audits are raised with the operator and the audit findings reported openly. When animals arrive at meat premises, they are unloaded into the animal holding facility or a lairage, where they are rested and sorted into batches. At this point, an FSA official veterinarian carries out a check to make sure that the animals are fit to be admitted into the human food chain. Sick and unwell animals will be rejected at this point. This check is conducted on all animals. Slaughterhouse owners or food business operators would also carry out checks within the holding area. For example, it is a requirement that animals arrive for slaughter with food chain information, which informs the abattoir of animal history, identification, any previous health issues, and if any treatment has been administered. An important FBO control would be to only admit clean, healthy, and properly identified animals. Slaughterhouse operatives check cattle identification to make sure that actual identification, as shown on the ear tag, matches documented identification as shown on the cattle passport. From the holding area, the animals are humanely slaughtered before commencement of processing animals into meat. Processing usually starts with hide and fleece removal, or the removal of bristles from pigs and feathers from chickens. Once the outside of the meat is clean, the carcass has its internal organs removed. In terms of meat inspection, and returning to the numbers of animals processed in GB meat premises each year, 775 million birds, 15.6 million lambs, 7.9 million pigs, and over 2 million cattle. Each and every carcass receives a detailed post-mortem inspection to again ensure its fitness for human consumption. The regulations prescribe the inspection the official veterinarian and meat hygiene inspector would carry out, but is often a visual inspection of carcass meat and offal parts. The regulations also prescribe more detailed inspection of certain parts of the carcass and offal that are at higher risk of showing disease, for example, detailed inspection of the heart and liver. There are some things that visual inspection cannot identify. For example, bacteria are too small to see with the naked eye. Once the MHI has carried out his post-mortem inspection and the meat is passed as fit for human consumption, the meat is health marked by application of a stamp identifiable to the meat hygiene inspector and the meat premises. You may have noticed these marks on meat or meat packs. Some meat may be unfit for human consumption and is detained separately pending any further inspection, sampling and disposal out from the human food chain. Some samples are sent for further test and analysis. For example, samples would be submitted for particular disease tests and for random medicines and drug residues to check that any medicines administered while the animals were alive are no longer contained in the meat. All 4-year-old and older cattle have nervous tissue samples sent for analysis to test for transmissible spongiform encephalopathies, commonly known as BSE. Samples for BSE testing are submitted to laboratories for test, and these labs usually work overnight, returning test results for the following morning. Once the official veterinarian and meat hygiene inspector receive these results, the meat is fit to be released into the human food chain.